The elevator doors slid open with their usual mechanical sigh, but the momentary silence was quickly drowned by hurried footsteps and hushed conversations. It was Monday morning, and the towering glass building of Valor Tech was already buzzing with life. Executives marched in polished shoes, interns darted about nervously with coffee trays, and keyboards clicked like synchronized applause behind closed doors. But beneath this symphony of ambition, unnoticed by most, a quiet rhythm echoed. The faint clatter of a mop bucket, the soft rustle of a broom, the gentle hum of an old man's voice singing in a language no one quite understood. Amir, the janitor, moved through the corridors with practiced ease. His blue uniform, always neat, seemed to blend into the background, like wallpaper no one bothered to notice. He greeted everyone with a polite nod, his warm smile never faltering. Most employees returned a half-hearted hello, often without meeting his eyes. To them, Amir was just the janitor, harmless, invisible, forgettable, but Amir carried a secret. Or perhaps, not a secret, just a truth no one ever cared enough to discover. It was just after 7:30 a.m. when it happened. The executive conference room on the 14th floor had been double booked. A critical investor meeting was set to begin, and the catering team had mistakenly delivered breakfast to the wrong floor. A flustered intern named Mia was near tears as she scrambled to fix the chaos. One wrong move, and she feared it would cost her the job she desperately needed. I need help. She gasped aloud in panic, trying to juggle trays of croissants and fruit platters while dialing the catering company for redelivery. Amir, who had just stepped out of the janitor's closet nearby, gently approached. "Do you need a hand?" he asked softly. Mia, eyes wide, looked at him as though seeing him for the first time. "Yes, God, yes. I need to tell them they've sent it to the wrong room, but they don't speak English well, and I don't know what language they're using." Amir peered down the hall, where delivery workers were speaking rapidly in what sounded like Eastern European dialect. He tilted his head, listened, and then stepped forward. In fluid, flawless Romanian, he addressed the men. They turned, surprised, and instantly relaxed as Amir calmly explained the situation. Within moments, the confusion was sorted. The food was redirected, the trays delivered, and Mia stood there, stunned. "You speak Romanian?" she asked. Blinking. Amir smiled humbly. "Yes, and Russian. A little French, some Mandarin. It depends on the day." She laughed nervously. "You're joking, right?" But he wasn single quotes t. What neither of them realized was that someone had been watching. Jason Whitmore, the CEO of Valor Tech, was known for many things: his no-nonsense attitude, his intimidating height, his unwavering focus on excellence. What he wasn't known for was small talk, but that morning, he'd stepped off the elevator just in time to see Amir handle the situation. He didn't say a word, he simply watched, and then he walked away. Later that afternoon, Amir was called to the CEO's office. The other janitors looked at him with wide eyes. "What did you do?" one whispered. "Is something wrong?" Amir only smiled and wiped his hands clean before heading up. Jason's office was minimalist, modern, and cold. Floor-to-ceiling windows gave a commanding view of the city skyline. Amir stepped in quietly and stood, unsure of what to expect. "Amir," Jason said, looking up from his laptop. "Take a seat." Amir did. The two men sat in silence for a moment, one in a crisp suit, the other in a faded uniform. "I saw what you did this morning," Jason said finally. Amir nodded. "Just helping out." Jason leaned forward. "How many languages do you speak?" Amir looked down, embarrassed. "9 fluently. I can understand a few more. I've had a lot of time to learn." Where did you learn them? Amir hesitated. "I was a translator. Back home, for the embassy, before the war." Jason was quiet. "And now you mop floors." "I needed work," Amir said, simply. "I needed to survive. And sometimes survival isn't glamorous." Jason exhaled, his voice low. "How long have you been here?" 6 years. And no one knew. No one asked. Jason stood and walked to the window. After a moment, he turned back. "I want you to come to tomorrow's executive meeting." Amir looked up, confused. Sir, I want you in the meeting room at 9 a.m. not to clean. To translate, we're bringing in investors from 5 different countries. We've been paying a translation firm thousands every month, and you're sitting right here. Amir swallowed. Are you sure? Jason smiled for the first time. I'm not in the habit of making bad investments. And I think you're the best one we've missed. The next morning, the entire 14th floor buzzed with rumors. Did you hear? The janitor's going to the executive boardroom. No way. He's replacing the translators. What? Like when Amir entered the room, dressed in a modest button-up shirt and slacks clothes borrowed from his son, he didn't look like a janitor anymore. He looked like someone who belonged. The executives watched curiously as he sat beside Jason, a calm presence in the midst of tension. The meeting began. Representatives from Japan, France, Brazil, Germany, and Russia took their seats, and Amir. He spoke, fluently, elegantly, effortlessly transitioning from one language to the next, making jokes in Russian that made the investors laugh, easing tension with a French proverb, correcting a mistranslation in German that saved the company from a disastrous misunderstanding. He didn't just translate words, he conveyed tone, nuance, intention. By the end of the 2-hour meeting, the entire room was in awe. When the international team left, clapping Jason on the back and congratulating him for such a seamless experience, Amir stood quietly and gathered his notes. But before he could leave, the entire office, every executive, every assistant, even the skeptical ones stood and applauded. Real applause. The kind that echoes. That night, Amir returned to his small apartment, where his teenage daughter hugged him with tears in her eyes. They cheered for you, Baba, she asked. He smiled. They saw me. The next week, Amir's job title officially changed. He was now Valor Tech's Director of Multilingual Communications, with a salary that finally matched his skill. His story began to spread, first through LinkedIn, then in HR newsletters, and eventually in a viral YouTube video that told the world about the janitor who spoke 9 languages and the CEO who finally listened. But more than the promotion, more than the recognition, what mattered most to Amir was that, for the first time in years, he didn't feel invisible. The building still buzzed with the same urgency. Elevators still sighed open, executives still marched, and interns still panicked. But now, when Amir walked through the corridors, people greeted him with respect. They asked about his past, his culture, his stories. They saw the man behind the mop. And every time someone new joined the company, Jason would introduce them personally to Amir. Meet Amir, he'd say. He speaks 9 languages, and he taught us all how to listen. Because in a world obsessed with titles and suits and glass offices, sometimes the greatest talent hides in plain sight. Sometimes the most powerful voices come from the quietest corners. And sometimes the janitor isn't just the janitor. He's the reason the whole office finally remembered what humanity sounds like.